Let's talk about marriage. So I had an incredible experience today. I'll get to that. I want to end on that because it's so beautiful. But one thing that I learned a lot of things from being married, and then after my divorce. One of the things I said was, I didn't get married to get divorced. I mean, that was never the intent, but I sure learned a lot on the other side after learning a lot of ways of how not to do it. So I'm not claiming to be an expert, but just from things that I've learned in being introspective and really taking accountability for my part in things along the way, and just experiences from watching other people do it well, and other people fail, but other people that have struggled through their failures and come out on the other side. So I want to share some of that with you. I just did a video recently about our men and how our men are in identity crisis and how we need our men. We need our families too. We need our marriages, and every point of unity or strength in our culture right now is completely under attack, and that is not by accident. So we need to go back to the fundamentals, and we need to reinforce these points, because our communities desperately, our children desperately need us to get this right. Okay, but marriage, and this is one thing that I learned, and I've been watching and observing it as well. Marriage is not meant to be done in a bubble. It is not just the two of you against the world. That is the wrong way to look at it. Even people that they got married, like, oh, we're great, we love each other, we're such a great team. Like, yeah, well, that's fantastic. However, at some point, this person that is your source of strength for everything outside is going to be your source of pain, even unintentionally. They're going to hurt you, or you're going to hurt them. That unity is going to break, and how do you get back to each other? Love is not enough. I'm telling you right now. Okay, that's another topic for a different day, but I'll tell you what, love is not a feeling, love is action. Love is when the cancer hits, or you're sick, or mental illness hits, or car accident hits. That's where the metal meets the meat. That's what love is. Love is grinding it out in those really, really awful, uncomfortable times. Love is sacrifice. Love is action. It's not a feeling. So how do we, when the butterflies fade and we start to hit these hard points in our marriage, how do we get through it? Well, one thing's for darn certain. We got to stop trying to do it on our own. We need to recognize ahead of time, one, this point where we're going to have difficulty is going to happen. So let's plan ahead of time for it. Two, we have got to have community around us that is team us. Oh man, she really screwed up. She did X, Y, Z, and she's such a, and how, ladies, he did this and was so insensitive and really hurt and all these things. And yes, those might be valid, but are these people coming together with you and saying, okay, yes, that's true. Yes, he or she did this, but how do we push you back together? We are team you guys, somebody who is team us. We need that. We need mentorship. Okay. We have got to be looking for at least one other couple that has gone through some hard stuff and come out on the other side. Even if it's a couple that you don't know if they've gone through some hard stuff, I promise you this, you find someone that you think has the ideal, somebody who's older than you, I would highly recommend. We've gotten really, really good at, faking it till we make it, and Instagram and all this crap doesn't help. Looks like the perfect marriage until you talk to these people and you're like, holy cow, it is coming apart at the seams. But, they're too attached to their house, their car, and their lifestyle, and they don't want to deal with what's actually going on. Look for someone older. Look for someone in an older generation who they've been married for a long time. That's where the good stuff is, folks, because they have gone through infidelity. They've gone through a loss of a child. They've gone through losses of jobs. They've gone through, holy cow, this isn't the person I thought. Like, maybe not all these things, but they've gone through something that could have been at least one, if not multiple moments of maybe we're not supposed to be together. And they push through. And how did they do that? You need those people. Your spouse needs those people. You as a couple need to have dinner with these people on a regular basis and get into some real talk. Okay, where these people get a chance to take their experience and download it into you. That way, hey, for you older generations, your experience matters. You need to be sharing it. That's why our stories matter. Our stories matter so much. When we get in community and we build rapport and we take people under our wings and we share our experience, it can help save lives. From the work I've done with suicide prevention awareness, it can save lives, to marriages, to relationships with children, all kinds of things. It has value. So I'm going to share this story with you. So I stepped out in obedience this morning, actually, and I talked to a couple. I don't know why, they just kind of stood out to me. And I went up to them and I talked to them as a couple, but I focused in on the husband first. And I just gave him what I felt like was a prophetic word of encouragement to them in their marriage. And I called out on him. I said, you have an energy that God has put in you that needs to be redirected and repurposed, that he has leadership for you in your marriage, that he wants to train you up in that. And just almost immediately as I started talking to the husband, the wife, I mean, involuntarily, it's like the tears just jumped out of her eyes onto, just started streaming and pouring down her face, without even blinking, like just, it spoke to something in her. She needed that leadership from her husband. And he needed to hear that he was capable of it. And my suspicion is this is a conversation they've been unable to have or didn't even know how to have with each other. And I encouraged them in that moment too, while still kind of focusing on him, was you need to find a community. You need to find, particularly, you need to find at least one other couple. There is another couple out there that you guys need to plug in with and learn from, that they can kind of mentor you in your marriage, because you're destined for great things and you've got things coming at you that are trying to attack and rip this apart. I promise you, wherever there is unity, there is going to be something. I know what that something is. You figure that out for yourself, but there is going to be an attack from the enemy on this point of unity. And their marriage, I could tell, was just going through it. So to plug in with this couple, that they could have some breadcrumbs on how to make it to the other side and really find what they were destined for as a couple, but also individually. I spoke to her and I said, under his leadership, all these gifts and talents that you have are just going to start to flourish. And again, like just another wave of tears. She couldn't even speak. She was just, really soaking it in. You could tell it just hit her center of mass, and it hit him too. He kind of lit up when he saw his wife's response, that it sparked something in him. So I just wanted to encourage, for marriages, you matter. It's important. It is worth fighting for. I promise you, the grass is not greener on the other side. The amount of work that you would have to put into building from scratch in this culture, especially. Don't even get me started on what dating looks like. Trust me, it's for as much work as it's going to be to breathe life back into your marriage. It's going to take 10 times that to start over from scratch and realize that you're right back where you started because you didn't address the parts of you that need to be addressed. So I'd like to encourage you, invest in your marriage, invest in each other, and look for the people in the community that you can talk to that learned from not doing it right.